what's going on, guys? Bflattened here with a brand new build today. We finally got into Purple Tree characters. This is Purple Tree Zane. Let's get right into it, shall we? So base cannon Zane is going to be working off of a lot of the Purple Tree, but we're going to get into that at the very end because there's a lot more explanation there. So violent speed, violent momentum, movement speed is damage, very generic. Cool hand is going to be increased reload speed after kills. You get even more increased reload speed after kills, and it stacks twice. Salvation for 1 point for only that little bit of lifesteal, and you'll see why in just a couple minutes. Seeing red ended up switching from the capstone, now it's in the middle of the tree. Activating an action skill automatically activates all your action skills. This is super worthwhile now because of the Manus cannon, and you'll see exactly why this works. There's also a buff to it that came as well, which you also get a 15% kill steal bonus. I also use violence for fire rate. It also stacks twice. This is going to be super important for some of our guns that we're using, more specifically things that are slower, but it also improves things that are extremely fast as well. Only a couple into playing dirty because I don't really use this that often. However, those extra projectile chances are actually still pretty nice when they do activate. Good misfortune, we have 3 points into it. This is really good because every time we get a kill or a kill steal procs, we get our kill steal duration lasting longer. And since we're using barrier, this is very important to keep your barrier active without getting kills. Death follows close. All of Zane's kill steals gain increased effect and duration. This is now the new capstone. You get a 25% kill steal bonus and a duration of an additional 7 seconds. Into the new Purple Tree. I start 5 off into Deja Vu. Whenever you get a kill with a critical hit, you get a chance for 1 ammo to be added back to the magazine. This is essentially Zane's version of Leave No Trace from Flak. It's super nice when it works. So the more crits, the better you have. Now the two main skills in this one are super good. Headman's Hand, which is a kill skill. Whenever you get a critical hit damage, you get increased critical hit damage and it stacks twice. So you can go up to 60% critical hit with this because it stacks twice, and its duration lasts 23 seconds. That's crazy. Next we have Commitment. Now this is a stacking skill. This can have up to, I believe, 50 stacks, and when you have 50 stacks, that's going to end up being 2000% gun damage or something like that. My math is off, but I believe it's 2000% max. Anyways, kill steal, you get increased gun damage and action steal cooldown rate. Because we have 4 points into our spy comm, we get 54% gun damage out of this and a cooldown rate of 54% as well, making it 9 out of 5. Now, this is stacking again, so the more that you're activating your kill steals and the more kills that you're getting, the more stacks you're putting into this. The more stacks, the more gun damage, and everything just melts. I have Fugitive on because it's 1 point, and I thought there's no other points I can really use in this build. Being able to sprint and shoot at the same time kind of takes away from your violent momentum and your violent speed, but or no, it doesn't take away from that, it adds to it. However, it takes away from the capstone, sorry. Very confusing tree. This kind of takes away from the capstone, and you'll see why in just a minute. Domino effect, whenever you score a crit, you gain increased fire rate and reload speed for a short time. If he scores a critical with the action skill, you double the effect. So if we hit a crit with our Manus cannon, we double our effect with this. 20% reload and 15% fire rate for an 8-second duration. Very nice. 1 point into Sheer Will, just because I didn't really have any other places to put points. When you get increased action skill cooldown rate and you score a crit, you stack it twice, so you can get it to 10% cooldown rate. It's very nice. Eraser, this is going to be another one of our main skills. Zane's critical hits pierce through enemies for all weapons, and you do increased damage for every enemy pierced for 120% pierced amp shots. And then finally, our man Flint, because the new class mod gives us capstone points. We now have 2 out of 1 out of this. When aiming down sights, Zane's weapons deal bonus damage and automatically apply their status effect. So we're going to be using cryo-related guns, and you'll see why that's important in just a second. But aiming down sights, we automatically apply their status effect when we score a crit, and we get 50% damage just for aiming down sights. It's going to be ridiculous. The augments that are in here is No Way Out. Whenever we hit an enemy with shoulder cannon, we pull them to us and we do increased damage. And Proliferation, whenever the more damage we have, or we get more damage based on the amount of our managed shoulder cannons, and we get 2 additional charges with it, so 5 shots and more damage per shot that we have. And finally, our green tree adrenaline is going to be action still cooldown rate, because you don't need shield and you don't really need shield recharge rate. And whenever you score a crit on an enemy, there's a chance they'll be slowed until they're frozen. This is super good. It kind of lines up with our purple tree very nicely. Whenever the Zane or ally touches a barrier, you get movement speed and reload speed. This is going to be very nice. And we're using all-rounders so that we cover ourselves everywhere. Now, whenever you pick up the barrier, you have a 12.5% damage bonus. Whenever you have it on the ground and you shoot through it, it's a 25% bonus. However, having it around you at all times is very nice. If we ever get into fight for our life, we're pretty much screwed. So we need the barrier with all-rounder around us, and we need that 1 point into salvation just in case our HP goes a little too low. Heading into our skills now, and into our items and our weapons and shit like that. We have the recursion. This is going to be the return of the recursion. It's super good on this build. It's a ×2 projectile, and it comes with cryo damage, corrosive, and it's next to max cryo damage. Cryo is going to be super important for this build, and you'll see why when we get into our gear. But the ×2 projectiles is super good because Eraser, it's going to be doing a lot of damage to the enemies we hit, and it's going to bounce around, and it's going to start doing a lot of damage to everything around us. Now, I use a backburner with action skill and with splash damage just as my fight for my life weapon, because if I get into fight for my life, I'm pretty much screwed. All my damage is kill skills bonuses, and if I go into fight for my life, I am losing all of that, so I need something to revive myself. Here's one of the new weapons, the Boogeyman. It's fire, and on action skill end, you do cryo damage. The reason why I only have a ×1 instead of a ×2 is because of the sustainment for the ammo. Because of violent violence increasing our fire rate by a bunch, and because of there's another fire rate still in here. I believe it's our augment. There's another fire rate still in here. But anyways, because of all those increased fire rate skills, the ×2, you just delete your ammo very quickly. So having a ×1 actually allows you to sustain it a little bit easier. And if you're aiming down sights, it does a lot of damage. And finally, the plasma coil with action skill and splash damage is increased. Plasma coil is pretty much good on any character, and if you have splash damage with it, it is great. It's a 16 round burst, and it does a ton of damage. It always comes in shock and radiation, so I can't have any cryo on this. However, it's just really good. Okay, now into the gear. We have the Frozen Heart with action skill start. Whenever I activate my action skill, that includes Manus Cannon and all 5 charges, I freeze enemies around me. It's Piss. Whenever I end my action skill, it's for shock damage. I don't actually use the nade, I just use it for the shock damage. The Spy with Hyperion crit, shotgun damage, SMG. It comes into 1 to our man Flint and 4 into commitment. However, you can have some other options in here as well. The Hustler with Hyperion crit is great. Spy with pistol and weapon damage in case you're using a pistol. 5 into Headman's Hand if you want more crit with weapon damage. There's a bunch of Seeing Deads in here as well. Whichever is your fancy, feel free to play around and see what you like more. Finally, the Icebreaker Victory Rush. Now, whenever we freeze an enemy, we do 45% increased damage against those targets. We're freezing all our enemies constantly, and Brain Freeze is also going to be making up for anything that we miss. It also comes with cryo damage and mag size, so we have additional shots, and yeah, we do increase damage against frozen targets. That's its main thing. Alright, now let's get into the mobbing section of the build. Now, you want to keep in mind and pay attention to your bottom right-hand corner on your experience bar. That's where your commitment stacks are going. You want those as high as possible. Now, you can see commitment is off in the corner there. That guy's frozen, and he's gone. And he's frozen, and he's gone. Frozen, gone. Trash mobs like this, all you have to do really is just freeze them, and you get an easy target for the crit as well. And the crit damage is where you want all of your swings to be going, because that's where a lot of things are going to be proccing for you. Flamethrower heavyweight, doesn't matter. He's done too. Now, I only have a 13 stack going right now. If I had far higher stacks rolling for me for commitment, everything would be deleted before I even had a chance to shoot the gun. Another thing that you could do is you can spam the cannon in between mobbing so that you have a bunch of commitment stacks already ready to go before you get into a new fight. See, I entered here with about 17 stacks, which is great. Now, the Frozen Heart, I made a video on the Snowshoe versus the Frozen Heart, and there's probably still a few people who don't know the differences between the two. I would suggest checking out that video. However, I would recommend the Frozen Heart now, as that video is dated. The reason being is because the Frozen Heart has ridiculous cryo range, and I believe it also has the highest Nova for a shield in the game, meaning that you can freeze targets from a very long distance away. It's great for survivability. We have our barrier active at all times whenever we're getting a kill, and whenever we're activating our Manus cannon in between, doing a ton of damage. Single targets like this, you don't really want to use the recursion on. This is when you want to pull out like a boogeyman or something. Next mobbing area, I'll use strictly the boogeyman just to show you what it does. Now, the boogeyman has a chance to spawn something called a boogeyman. If you spawn a boogeyman, it's a just like the Mayhem 10 modifier for post-mortem death. It'll go and seek out a target, and when it seeks out a target, it will it'll pop them. It'll be just the same speed. You'll see like a little purple ghost floating out. I'll see if I can find and spawn one for you. Nothing spawned there. It's a very small chance. I've noticed. I haven't had a lot of luck with it spawning, but when it does, it hits a target, it does a ton of damage. It's actually very cool to see. We'll go after Chupacabra here. We'll go after old Choupy here. Yeah, just deleted. Now, it's important to pay attention to the ammo when I'm firing the gun, because you'll notice that its other effect is it has a high chance of not consuming ammo. Now, it's more of a Moe's gun in this sense. There's a boogeyman there. That's what it does. Seeks out a target, kills it. This is more of a Moe's gun. However, the fire and the cryo combination together actually work out very nicely. Swings for a lot of damage. If you aim down sights, you're getting even more damage with it, which is great. Look at that, throwing out barrier. Not only are you protecting yourself with barrier, but you freeze everything around you. Aiming down sights, tons of damage. Alright, now let's switch over to the plasma coil, and the plasma coil is an amazing gun. It's absolutely ridiculous what it does. Like, you're gonna be killing enemies before the dot damage even applies, and the dot damage is ridiculous by itself too. It's like 100,000 dot. Yeah, look at that. 116 round burst, gone. Next. Okay, I'm gonna go meet you guys over at Trunt, and we're gonna go play around with Trunt before we call this a video. I'll meet you guys over at Trunt. Alright, and we're over here at Trunt. Let's go ahead and play around with Trunt a little bit. So, there are a few different items in here as well. Skullmasher, Sandhawks, if you want to play around with those. Bloodstarved Beast. The consecutive hits reflux is actually a really good item as well if you don't like the recursion. With the consecutive hits, you're having a lot of fire rate. And it's also a Hyperion shotgun, so you get some bonuses with the Hyperion crit off the spy. However, recursion's not going to do a lot to our friend Trunt here. You could use Hellwalkers with bonus cryo damage. That will do a lot to Trunt. But I think we're just going to use the pure plasma coil here, just to show off the raw power of the plasma coil and how good it is. Yeah, look at that. One burst and nothing. Deleted. That's just the plasma coil. It's a bossing item. It's a mobbing item. It is the craziest gun in the game right now. Like, I would highly expect this to get nerfed very soon, or at least changed in some way, because this thing, you can delete things on Guardian Takedown like they're nothing. You can delete things on like any boss that you name. It's just a ridiculous gun. Look at that, I had no stacks of anything there. 16 round burst too, that was just nuts. Let's try out the Hellwalker on this one this time. Just to show what the Hellwalker is gonna do. We'll put it over the back burner, I guess. Okay, I kind of want to delete his shields first, actually. Now, I'm not doing a lot of damage because I have to pay attention to my stacks. I only had I had less than 10 stacks there, which is not good. And then yeah, once you get the Hellwalker, your fire rate and reload speed are going to be absolutely crazy. Because your reload speed is going to be so fast, you won't even see the animation of the Hellwalker. It is a absolutely nuts gun to use on Zane. That's actually a really good KO sin. That's actually a very good KO sin. Speaking of chaos and dull though, there is a really nice gun in here for you guys to take and try out as well. It is a chaos. Now that one has sentinel cryo. There should be a, yeah, here we go, shock with radiation in here. This thing is ridiculous, and I'm going to show you just how ridiculous it is because I have high confidence in it. I'm not going to take that chaos. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. My one warning with it though is because it has action skill and radiation, don't get too close to your enemies. That radiation will come back in your face and it will hurt you a lot. It will down you multiple times, which is actually why I took it off. But if you can have good range with it and you can stay at a distance, then by all means please use it and try it out. It is great. See if we can get a couple stacks rolling here, and we'll get the action still end going. And it's super fast. Yeah, gone. It is a super fast gun. The reload speed is going to be super fast as well. Yeah, that's what I mean. You get too close, that explosion will come and hit you. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching the video, guys. I do appreciate it. My name is Bflattened, and I'm signing on out of here. Take care, all. Laters.